Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, and I'm here with Chris from Kent, UK-based progressive, sludge, post, goes under a lot of different things, I think. Upcdownc. Chris, it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having me on.
How have you been holding up, I guess is the right word at this stage, holding up during the many months of this pandemic-stricken world?
Not too bad. I mean, luckily I've been able to do a little bit because work-wise I do guitar lessons and stuff, so I've been able to do a bit of it via Zoom or
teaching.
WhatsApp. Yes, yeah. So it works to a certain degree. Obviously, if they've got their own instrument, if they don't have a drum kit, obviously we can't really do much. But I've been able to do a little bit of that, and then mainly I've been recording just from at home. I've got my own little kind of mini studio in the small bedroom back there that I've been recording in. I've started a side project actually with a friend. He does the vocals and I record most of the music side. So I've been doing that, as well as not so much writing Upsy stuff. We've started one new one actually that we've been kind of messing about with. Obviously, again, we've only really been practicing for the last month or so. A bit, I say lucky, obviously now there's only two of us, it's easier to practice at a distance because he's at one end, I'm at the other, so it's, in that way it's a bit easier. But so yeah, just mainly recording and a little bit of work, that kind of thing.
You think you've been able to keep yourself distracted enough, busy enough then with all of that?
Yeah, to a certain degree, yes.
Because, I mean, every country obviously is kind of handled different. And we've been, over these months, thanks to artists being in lockdown and sitting at home, we've had the chance to speak to lots of different people from all over the world with different varying things. Now, you're in the UK, I'm in the UK, so we both have the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
But whereabouts are you? In Medway, right?
Yeah. So Rochester.
Oh, Rochester. Okay. So Welling in Kent as well.
Okay, it's not too far.
No, not too far at all. But yeah, do you find it really massively disrupted your personal life?
Again, I mean, in a way, actually, no, because of this whole Zoom, everyone's obviously been we've been doing quite a lot of group chats and seeing people, friends in London and stuff who used to live around here but have all moved out and stuff like that. I've been able to do little meetings and kind of quizzes and things we've been doing with them. So I've actually probably saw people more than I would have done, because obviously that would have involved going up to London or whatever. So
yeah,
in a way, I guess, plus everyone, everyone's on WhatsApp or some kind of messaging service now, so you can kind of always be in touch with people. So yeah, to be honest, it hasn't really been that bad in that sense for me at all.
No, I get that completely. It's what would we have done without the modern world of technology, the Zooms, the WhatsApps, the video calls? Would have been quite different, I think.
Like I said, I was lucky as well because I've got somewhere to record. I know obviously some people wouldn't. So to be honest, if I hadn't had that, I probably would have gone a bit stir crazy, because there's only so many little riffs you can record on your voice app on your phone, and then that's it. Obviously, being able to record and mix and stuff and share it with people as well, because obviously it's easier now. You can literally whack stuff off of Bandcamp in about under a couple of minutes. So
yeah. Did you start looking around and you start seeing, in relation to Upcdownc, what other bands are doing in regards to streams and putting stuff out and all that? Did that put any pressure on you guys to do anything like that?
Not really, because we were up until February, there was three of us, which the three of us recorded the new album. And so he left. It's only just gone, actually. He was supposed to go in April, but obviously because of this, it moved on. But so we've been trying to kind of work, well, I say we, because Dale's the drummer, so the drums are pretty much the same. It's more I've been trying to then work out how to do it as a two-piece band now rather than as a three-piece band. So mainly that's the main thing. It's just, slightly changing certain bits, because obviously it would lack the bottom end. So what I've had to do now is I already run through 2 amps. Now I've got a third, which I've run for an octave pedal, so it's like the bass element side of it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. And sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so that's all. literally been trying to work out how to do that and play everything that we record. Well, not all the songs, but I think we generally play probably 4 of the songs off. I think, how many is there? 7? I should know myself. 6 or 7.
7.
I think.
7.
Yeah, 7. And yeah. So, but to be honest, we always do with albums. We generally always want what we always call like little segue tracks that you wouldn't necessarily play live, but they work well if you're trying to. Because our thing is always to try and make an album that you can listen to, one sitting. That So I think some of the in the 90s there were quite a lot of albums where, because it was more CD orientated, I guess they used to whack all the singles or the good, well, I say good songs, those kind of songs at the start, and then by the end of it, it gets a bit, it's kind of fallen off away a bit, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's why we always add those little bits in, so we don't have to really worry about working those out, but we might sometimes use them as little loops that we play between songs, whilst you're tuning up and things like that. So, but otherwise, it's only really been a few songs that we've had to work out. But it's been going well, and hopefully at some point, I don't know when, but we'll be able to do something live. I don't really know when that would be or whatever, but fingers crossed at some point soon we can do something.
Absolutely. And going back to what you were saying, so are you planning to continue forward as a 2-piece permanently now, or are you on the lookout?
At the moment, we figured we'll go as a 2-piece, see how that goes, see how people react to it, and then I guess assess it from there. Because it was not difficult. It's just that with the band, we started off as 5 and then went to 4, then to 3, and then to 2. And because we've been going such a long time, it's not hard, but I don't know, getting someone in might be a bit odd, if you see what I mean, in that situation. So we figured to be honest, there are a lot of 2-piece bands. It's not as if it's an impossibility now. A lot of bands seem to be, again, with technology and pedals and loopers and all this kind of stuff, it's easier to do these kind of things now than it would have been, 10 or so years ago, I think.
Well, absolutely. The rise of as they would have called bedroom artists, solo acts and stuff like that, they're then risen from their bedrooms purely thanks to technology. Mm-hmm. It certainly doesn't make it impossible. But when you're building then towards a new album, which is obviously what you guys have been doing, we're almost at the point of release for the new album. What difficulties did you face then when it came to kind of building towards it while stuck at home?
I don't know. That wasn't really. Again, because obviously we're working with Trepanation Recordings on this as well, so he's been putting a lot of work in with the press side and using the social media stuff. So again, it hasn't really been that much different to what we would have normally done without the gigs. That's the only thing we haven't really been able to do. And up until, as I say, our last gig, we were really only still playing, I think, 3 or 2 of the songs. We hadn't started playing some of the other ones, so we haven't really been able to get that across, the live side. But I guess as well, again, with technology, people make their own videos, so we've been able to do bits like that, and hopefully at some point there'll be some kind of video. It's just because our songs are so long, making a video for something that's like nearly 10 minutes long can take its time, if you see what I mean. So
you need to take a leaf out of the popular music bracket, as you said, and do radio edits effectively.
Yeah, it could do. I always find, I don't know, I don't really like radio edits, to be honest with you. So I always prefer the longer, and I understand why they exist, but I think sometimes when it's a piece of so long, trying to even it down to, I don't know how you do it, to be honest, if you see what I mean. But
of course, as well, and the tracks you're referring to, the longer ones that appear on Score, if you start trying to cut that down, you're going to lose a lot of that journey style music you're talking about.
Well, because it's kind of, most of the longer ones are long for a reason, because it's like it's a progressive build, and like you say, if you kind of cut that off, it's kind of a bit like a bit anticlimactic, if you see what I mean.
Absolutely. So as I said, we're about a week from the release of Score. How are you feeling about it at this stage now, when you're this close to it finally dropping?
to be honest, it's actually because it's been with us for quite a long time. I think we finished it. Let me think. Last October, I think, something like that.
Oh wow!
I think we recorded the bulk of it in March of 2019. Then we listened to it and we were kind of like, it needed at least another track. It just didn't seem to flow as we wanted it to. So then we went back in, I think it was around October, I might be wrong, September, October, something like that, to record another track. So it's kind of, as I say, been done for quite a long time for us.
Wow.
I mean, it might have even been earlier. My memory of it, I can't feel like it was last year, but I think because of this whole lockdown and everything, everything seems to have
blurred.
I can't really remember everything, what it was like before. It seems like such a long time ago that this all started, if you see what I mean.
So you're effectively sick of it then?
To a certain degree, I guess, especially in a way, I suppose, because we've been practicing them recently, but in a way that, we're practicing them, but for not real reason. Obviously, you're practicing them to get them tightened up, but then it feels like we haven't got really a goal at the minute because we can't really play them out live. So I guess that can be a bit, not annoying, but I guess, you're just going through it, just hoping at some point we'll be able to actually get people to be able to see us do this, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
There is a bit of excitement with it, but again, as well, we've had the vinyl for quite a while because we thought we'd better get in there and get it pressed up because I didn't know how long this was going to take with everything at the minute. And then luckily, I think they were actually really quick at getting that done and stuff. So, but I mean, it's always exciting to have something come out because obviously then people can hear it. But obviously, as we've been releasing a few little songs here and there as well, so people have been kind of reacting to what they've heard already, which has been positive. So that's great as well.
Yeah, about that positive feedback then from what's been released so far. Is that something you go out of your way to check out? You find yourself perhaps obsessing over or looking deeper into?
I don't know. But I always, take the time if someone's put the effort into writing something, I'll read it, even if it's not necessarily positive reaction to things. But I wouldn't say that I would obsess over it or anything like that. It's everyone has an opinion, I suppose, and you can't please everybody. It's not one of those things. So I mean, I know, or we know as a band, we are happy with it, and it's how we wanted it to come out, and with all the artwork and everything as well. So I think there'll be a bit of anticipation to see what people say or what people think, and if people buy it or download it or whatever. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Come this weekend as well. Well, I don't think there'll be reviews straight away, but hopefully there'll be something up in the future a bit.
Well, it's been 3 years since the previous album? About 3 years?
Yeah, 2017, I think. That again, with that, it's always generally we have it for it's finished for about a year to a year and a half beforehand because there's all the work. You've got to find someone that might want to be interested in releasing it, pressing it up. These things take time. So
yeah,
again, I'd say that was probably finished in 2016, but I think obviously it didn't come out until 17. I think it was September 2017, something like that.
It was actually. I remember last night because I was looking at the previous review and I was like, oh, it is almost exactly 3 years since the release of I Awake. Yes, I think you are right, September.
So yeah, I mean, like I say, I think we'll see what will happen. We'll see what people think. But at the moment, quite a lot of comments that we've had on Facebook or Twitter and stuff, that people seem to be really enjoying what they're hearing. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, ultimately, people are going to love it. People are going to hate it. It is part and parcel of hell. If you don't really make it unless you've got a bunch of haters anyway. So hopefully you'll get some. Well,
I think as well, what it is, again, everyone's got the internet, and everyone's a critic now, I suppose, because everyone can start up their own blogs and Facebook pages and Instagram. So, which is great because obviously it means that there's more people, listening to it and reacting to it. But like you say, you can't win them all, I suppose.
Yeah. And how much you reckon, how much of a different beast is Upcdownc these days compared to your start way back in, what, 2000?
Yeah, 2000, that's when we started. I
Yeah.
guess we got heavier, I think, or more, in a way, it was kind of like we thought about the fact that when you play gigs, you know, people generally talk during the quieter moments. So we were like, Joe, what, let's stop doing so many quieter bits and just be as loud as possible, because in that way, in a way, you're forcing people to have to listen, if you see what I mean. But
yeah,
I don't know, I think we just evolved more into that. We'd still do, like, as I say, the little segue tracks are kind of quiet and things, but I think there's not I mean, we obviously still mainly, we did go for a little period of singing, and again, it got to the point where when there were such small passages in a gig that there'd be a bit of vocal. You'd go to use the mic and it either wouldn't be on or it'd be too quiet. So I think in the end it was a bit like, do you know what? Let's not worry about this. Or we'd do those songs, but we wouldn't worry about the vocal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it was definitely more post-rock to start with. I think down that kind of route, and then I guess now we're more down the, like you said earlier, sludgier, progressive-y, kind of more proggy kind of stuff. But yeah, I think, as I say, it's more, the general gist I'd say is we're probably more heavier than we were. And yeah, I guess it's just one of those things.
Well, 20 years is an incredible amount of time for any band to still be going, particularly in the way the music industry has changed over that period. For you, does it feel like 20 years? Has it just flown by?
Sometimes it feels like it has, and sometimes you think like, God, was that long ago? You know what I mean? It's just been doing it so long. I guess it's just kind of becomes part of you, kind of thing. Just keep going with it until, I think we always said, but just keep going until it doesn't feel fun or whatever anymore, if you know what I mean. So obviously, I think this lockdown thing kind of has made it a bit more difficult in the sense, like, as I say, we can't play, so you kind of lose your motivation a bit with that. But as I say, I think we're still into doing it, so we'll just carry on. And it's again, not to keep harping on about technology stuff, but it's easier to be able to work on things now at home or whatever, and send recordings back and forth. Or what do you think of this little bit? Or because we often record rehearsal and then take that back and then listen to it and work, see if that bit worked or this bit needs working on. So it's been good because like I said, we've started a new song or a new piece that we're working on at the minute. So
well, that's exciting.
But it's kind of slightly different because obviously it's only one. I am doing all the guitar, doing all the drums, so there's not much really to talk about. What we generally seem to do it in small bits. We'll add another bit, then play it all the way through. Does that work? Does it need anything else? If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yourselves quite in sync.
But yeah, that's been, as I said, that's been the most fun thing I think at the minute, is being able to do that, and work on some newer stuff to see how it goes. Because one thing to keep rehearsing the same. Can we do this old stuff? Yeah, that's working. Now we need to see if we can obviously do something.
We've been part of. You've been, let's say, 20 years. You've been part of the ever-changing music world. The growth, the rise of streaming, YouTube, and the necessity of constant social media presence. Do you think you guys have adapted well to this?
Probably not me as more. I mean, I do actually do most of the social media stuff, but I'm not particularly that into computers and things, if you know what I mean.
Fair enough.
You can tell this isn't my Zoom. But yeah, in a way, I think so. Obviously, because it's not. I think I'm more of one of those kind of people that can take it. Knows how to use it enough, but doesn't go into it too much. I'm more still into vinyl and things like that more than anything else. I don't really download stuff, I must admit. I'd rather have. I still even buy CDs actually, because I prefer a physical thing. As I can see, obviously, you in the background there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is you know, streaming makes life easier when you've got to listen to a bunch of music in a short amount of time. But when you want to own something, you want to own it. Nothing will beat
Yeah.
the vinyls, the cassettes, CDs.
It's great as well. Like, you know, people can access it straight away, but you're up against everyone now, aren't you?
Mm,
Basically, because anybody can, especially at the moment, because there's no real, I say no real need. Obviously, people can't play live, so people can just form bands as a recording. Like I said, the thing I did, or I have been doing, that I'm putting the finishing touches with my friend, which is kind of like a more noise rock thing, but you know, there's only two of us. He does the singing, and I played the bass, guitar, and the drums, and recorded it. But obviously, that won't be able to be done live. We won't be able to do anything because you'll need more people. But
yeah.
I think because obviously everyone can do that kind of thing now, release stuff straight away to Bandcamp or SoundCloud or whatever. You are up against a lot of different talented people. So I always think it's, you know, it's the good and the bad, I think, with,
Yeah.
you know, with internet and stuff. But I think, you know, as I say, I think I've lost where I'm going with that now. Sorry, what was the question again?
That's right. It's I'm gonna pop to, even though it's a necessity, like it's a necessity that you must do this, be it Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever, and sometimes all at once. Would you say it's something then you just don't enjoy and you just force yourself to do?
I guess to a certain degree, because I don't know. Sometimes it's like, I'm not one of those people that literally thinks like, I better oh, that's good, I better say that or put this up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a bit like, oh, I better put something up because I haven't put something up for a while. And you don't. I guess it gets a bit like, especially if you're, because I've got obviously I've got my other side project, my solo thing I do, which is like a synth kind of, you know, soundtracky kind of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got to be like, oh, I haven't posted anything on that one for a while. And then you've got to switch from that one. Then you've got to, you know, it's hashtags and things to try and get more people to see it. And then trying to work out what's, you know, plus I remember people being like, oh, you know, you need to post at this time. That's the best time to post, more people see it. And it's a bit like, oh.
Algorithms, man.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how to. I must admit, I know some of my friends, they know how to use the internet and algorithms. I don't, you know, and I don't really want to get into it too much because, like you say, you end up obsessing and trying to get more and more likes. And even then, sometimes it's like, is that a real person, or is that one of those like paid bot kind of people? Or because you always get these weird, like, you know, you'll put something on Instagram and then someone will comment, and then you'll click on them, and it's like, does this person even exist?
Yeah.
And their comment doesn't really make any sense, and so there's that weird element to it as well.
It's unfortunate because once upon a time, as a band, you might have you measured your success in obviously record sales and number of people show at your shows and stuff like that. Whereas a modern band seems like they either want to or are forced to measure their success by the number of likes or followers and stuff like that.
Oh, I think as well, like a lot of record companies or labels, they won't touch you unless you've got over a certain amount of likes on Facebook and stuff, which is fine. But I think it works more in favour for younger bands because obviously they're more into that kind of technology. You know, it's more their thing. Obviously, I've grown up with it, but you know, I remember a time when it wasn't a thing. Because obviously, I mean, we used to have MySpace. Obviously, that died. But I don't even know if our page still exists. Actually, I never took it down. So, but there was another one. Was it called? I can't remember what it's called. It was one that Midjour, I think, started up from. But yeah, it was a weird thing, and I did that for a bit, but then no one seemed to take on that one, so then I took that one down. So yeah, there are always, you know, things you've got to try, to, you know, just to try and see if you can get a bigger audience or whatever, or get across to people. But like you say, I guess in a way, some of the time it's like, oh, I've got to put this on Instagram, then I've got to put it on Facebook, then I've got to put it on Twitter, then I've got to make a little video, and it does get a bit kind of like, and then you're emailing it back and forth between your phone and your laptop, all that kind of thing. So I guess in a way, it's not a drag, because if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it, obviously. So, but it's just one of those things. I guess if you want to, like I say, get it across to people so they can hear it and more people can see it, I guess you've got to play that game.
It's interesting you mentioned about younger bands. Do you guys kind of see yourselves as like elder statesmen of the UK scene, 20 years and all?
Older statesman. Definitely old, I think. Older. I mean, because there's still other bands. I mean, we still play with bands that we played with, for years. So there's still quite a lot of people that we still see and stuff. And but obviously, we do kind of notice that people there are a lot more younger bands and stuff. Because obviously, from teaching guitar and stuff, obviously I see kids learning things and playing as well. So I don't know if I'd say elder statesman, just stick in the mud, I guess. Just keep on going with it, I think.
Do you feel a part of it? Do you feel connected to that's the scene in the UK?
I don't know. I guess sometimes it's all a bit of a distant memory now, because obviously without the live element, there's no scene at the minute, is there? So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's great to be included with certain festivals and things when we get chose for those kind of things, and we've got friends who promote gigs all over the place. It's always nice to go and do those. Sometimes I think, I mean, we haven't really, because obviously the older you get, jobs and things, life seems to get in the way. So I guess we weren't able to play as much as we'd like to. So when we do, it's great, and we do get to play and see some great bands and stuff.
Do you think you've kind of, at this point now as well, on a personal level, nailed the balance of giving Upcdownc the time it needs, giving all your other projects the time it needs, but also not massively affecting your personal life and your loved ones?
To be honest, music is literally that's all I do. It's all I think about. So it's kind of pretty much, there's always music playing in the house, or I'm doing something. So I guess it's not really an obsession, because it just kind of it is just what I do. Music is just, do you know what I mean? It's just something that
it's in your veins, clearly, yes.
And I think generally all the friendships I've made, or all the people I know and stuff, it's all been through music, or meeting people out at venues, or the music clubs that we grew up at when we were kids and stuff. So I think literally everything, yeah, you're right, everything is pretty much
amazing
music with me. I think probably drive my partner mad with it, because obviously it's one of those things. But she's great. She's been, she's really supported with it and stuff. So, but yeah, I think I could drive people mad with constantly playing music all the time. Or I don't think I can get in a car or go anywhere without something playing.
I think it's amazing. It literally surrounds you. It is, as I said, running through your veins. It is intricately linked in your life, and that's incredible. And I want to go back to something you mentioned, because I was investigating it last night, and I want to see if you can clear it up for me. So, in 2015, you released an OST for a movie called Faster Than Evil. Now, right. I have looked everywhere for this movie. What happened?
It doesn't exist.
I know it.
We did it as a kind of, I guess, a joke, but we wanted to do something completely different. We were kind of, at that point, we were into, I think it was, like the whole Death Waltz, that, that, I don't know if you've heard of that record label that started bringing out vinyl versions of all the cool old horror soundtracks. I don't know if you actually can see as artwork.
It's amazing.
So they did, like, it started off with kind of like, the Halloween soundtracks and stuff, but it's all that weird synthy kind of stuff. So we just wanted to do an album in that vein. We thought, rather than do it and just call it something, we'd make it as if it was for a film. And then we kind of made it up, and then we went to the point of kind of making a fake, there was a fake website for it at one point, but I think there were thoughts about possibly making something, not a film, but doing something. But I think in the end, it would have taken too long. But yeah, it was mainly just basically we thought, let's do it as a joke, and then see if anybody believes it and see what happens with it. So just one of those things.
That's amazing. As I said, I sat there last night and I was like, right, let me hunt down this movie. Let me watch this movie on night shifts. And that way I can at least mention and talk about that. And obviously couldn't find it. And then I found a Twitter page and I was like, okay, so it exists on Twitter. Oh, but that Twitter stopped in 2015. And then there was nothing on IMDb, and I was like, I don't think this movie exists.
Well, feel free if you want to ever make it, you can do so. Look, the music's already written. So.
Already written.
But yeah, it was, like I say, it just because we wanted it to flow like it was from a soundtrack. Well, let's just kind of make one up, if you see what I mean.
And do those sort of early horror soundtracks, you talk a lot about synth and stuff like the John Carpenter-esque stuff, I guess. Mm-hmm. Does that massively have a lot of influence, not on Upcdownc, of course, but on you?
Yeah, I mean, I think with this album and the last one, there are some elements of that running through it, especially with the I Awake as well. We used quite a lot of synth stuff in it. And the opening track, I think, of that was very kind of synthy as well. But yeah, I think for not so much, I think maybe like I say, 4 years ago coming up to now, I haven't listened to that for a while, actually, that stuff. I've actually got all the records over there. I was just thinking to myself, I haven't listened to those for a bit, but definitely was an influence or something that I was really into, you know, for a couple of years ago. And it did definitely go into my solo stuff, the Arcadia stuff, and also, like I said, elements of the last two albums. So, yeah, I mean, they're great as well because they're, you know, because it's instrumental stuff as well. It's, you know, and quite a few bands. I mean, I think Mogwai did a song, didn't they, on was it called Rave Tapes, which has kind of had that vibe to it as well. I think, you know, it did seem to kind of cross over into people's consciousness for a bit, I think.
And is there like
there's a proper scene who do that kind of thing. Like I can't think of any off the top of my head at the minute, but there are bands that do not fake soundtracks, but that kind of soundtrack-esque album stuff. I think it's Zombie. Have you heard of the band Zombie?
That does ring a bell, maybe because it's such a generic name.
It's named after zombies in the zombie without the E's, just Zombi.
Oh, of course, the Fulci film.
That's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were one of the first bands. That was a while ago that I listened to or really got into. They did this. I think they were a two-piece. I might be wrong, but they were doing that kind of. I guess you could say mock kind of soundtrack stuff, but it works well as its own kind of album, if you see what I mean, as well. So
yeah.
If we get chances, I don't know what they've done for a while actually, but I had a few of their earlier ones, so they were great, that kind of thing. And it's just fun to add different elements in, I suppose, with synths and things. It just brings in different shades as well. Can't be doing riffs all the time, I suppose.
And I suppose it keeps things fresh for you, right? If you're just trying and messing around with new things and different things here and there, keeps your mind active.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what we always want. We always try and want to do something because, you know, some bands, you know, they stick with what they do, and that's fine. You know, that's what they do, and they're good at it. We kind of like to experiment about with different bits because it just makes it more fun.
Yeah.
You know, for us, like you say, because, you know, if it's like, oh, we've never used this before, let's try and add this in or whatever, if you see what I mean.
Very few bands can be Slayer, you know, and just stick to that one thing and make a massive career out of it. Very few.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But then, like you said, they do it well, so...
That's it. So, last thing then, Chris, before you go, what, if any, plans do you have in the works then over the next 12 months that you can either share with us or talk about?
Okay, well, obviously, the album comes out next week, so there's that. Hopefully, at some point, there'll be some kind of gigs to go with it, but no one seems to really know. Everyone's just speculating, I think. I do keep hearing quite a lot of like radio stuff or seeing on the internet that a lot of bands are starting to tour again around April. So seems to be there's something that people are thinking that next year, I guess everyone's waiting to see what's going to happen this winter, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's the big thing. So I've got my other side project that I mentioned, the two-piece called Dead Mammals. We've got an EP coming out in September. We did what we did first. Well, I say we did we're doing an album of about 11 of songs of our own, but we also done a little covers EP of influences and bands, and that's actually been really fun for me to do because, as well as obviously loving instrumental music and stuff like that, I'm a massive fan of 80s and 90s kind of noise rock bands, you know.
Awesome.
Like Nirvana, Big Black, Mission of Burma, wipers, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And I grew up on all that stuff, so it's been great to be able to do that. So yeah, we're doing a little covers EP that will be coming out again, hopefully I think on Trepanation in September. And then my other solo project, the in Arcadia, the synth stuff, I've got an album coming out in December, I think, as well. And that again, it's actually been finished quite a while. That so I've been doing. It's been great to be able to. It's great to actually have these different things to do now, because obviously I've got 3 elements of music that I'm really into, but they're very, you know, they complement each other, but then they're not exactly the same. So it's been great to be able to do that kind of stuff. And they're on Instagram and there's a Facebook page, I think, for most of them. So Dead Mammals is one, and In Arcadia is the other. If people wanted to check them out.
Very, very busy then. You're going to be very, very busy.
Yeah, well, as I say, again, with the In Arcadia stuff, it was actually finished. That's probably about a year and a half ago. It's one of these things, you get them finished and then you've got to work to try and see if people will be interested. And obviously, you can't just expect them to be like, yeah, I'll release it and I'll release it tomorrow.
And that's it, yeah.
You've got to wait, and it kind of, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, it's kind of exciting to have these different things coming out. So touch wood, again, hopefully people will react positively to those as well. So it's been, you know, it's been good to be able to work on that kind of stuff.
What about your guitar, your guitar school? Effectively, your teaching lessons. Is that something that you're still like you're taking on students?
Yes and no, because it's at the minute it's obviously, again, some people are happy to carry on doing them via online. I've had a few people start coming back. Obviously, it depends on whether people are comfortable with it and things like that. And the only thing is with this, because I do it in schools, quite a lot of them have got back saying that at the moment, the earliest, because what I do is obviously you go into different schools and the kids come out of their lessons to do, say, a 20-minute guitar lesson. Because of the new, that they're doing like these bubbles where obviously the kids can only they're going to stay in one classroom.
Yeah.
So they're not allowed to physically walk around and stuff. So the moment they're saying October, possibly later, for this kind of thing. So I don't really know what's going on with that at the minute. It's just doing what I can with it. I've actually had to get like a little driving delivery job I've been doing as well to kind of fill in. So back to trying to do that. But I was lucky to be able to get that. I know for a lot of people it's been a lot worse, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, but your job, for example, is one of the forgotten ones, man. That really absolutely sucks to hear that, because it's there's so many elements, and it's like, oh, people kind of go, oh, this needs to be sorted and that needs to be sorted, and then you get this falling through the cracks almost.
Yeah,
it's so important.
The other thing as well is you got to think about the fact that we don't really know what's going to happen once the furlough stops for people, who got it in October. They then might lose their job, and they're not going to be able to afford things like guitar lessons. And so a lot, and annoyingly, music is one of those things. Even in some of the schools I teach in, it's one of those things that you say is starting to drop through the cracks a bit. They don't seem to, I think it's always the way where music and art is always the one
seen as luxuries almost.
Yeah, so touch wood, hopefully something will come back from, I think once, using the word normality comes back, obviously I know what is normality really, but once it starts to come back, maybe things will pick up, but we don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of people don't know what's going to happen or what's ahead. So
it is a massive constant, watch this space, whether it be for your life, for your band, for a gig.
I mean, it's crazy. I never would have thought, that this kind of thing would have ever happened, really. If you'd have said to me this time last year, this will happen, I've been like, no, not, but I guess, I think people are adapting to it now, though. So hopefully, like I say, once everything's brand new, isn't it? And it's starting to get, people are getting used to all this kind of stuff. So hopefully once, people get used to it or things start to ease up, things might, start to pick up.
Absolutely. And let's try to end it on a bit more of a positive note of that down a bit. Score. out on the 28th of August via Trepanation Recordings.
That's it.
Chris, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thanks for having me. And yeah, hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?